Welcome to Soft Talk. Let's continue our conversation on this huge scam plaguing Nepal. It is this tip of that proverbial iceberg called corruption, policy corruption in particular. Welcome to the program. The presentation is titled Fair Proof is a Must. This is based on an editorial published in the Annapurna Express Daily. The ongoing police probe into the Bhutanese refugee scam has given the people a glimmer of hope. Fed up with chronic corruption, misrule, and instability over the decades, people want a fair, free, and transparent investigation into this scandal that has netted a few powerful figures. They include a former home minister, a former minister, a government secretary, a former government secretary, among others. Rumors are rife that more of these high profile peoples may get arrested in the days to come. So let's wait and watch. Let's keep a vigil against this huge scam. But some of the recent developments are making the conscious citizenry wonder if efforts are underway to influence the probe, this probe into the refugee scam. Ever since the arrests started in connection with this scam, top leaders of major political parties have huddled together more than once. It is natural for the birds of a feather to flock together, but these birds are quite different from each other, right? This screen grab is from Radha Party. It's a news portal based in Nepal. So let's continue with our presentation about policy corruption that is making headlines of late in Nepal. We were talking about these birds of a feather flocking together. There was a time when these figures, the top brass from the major political parties of Nepal, that is the Nepali Congress, the largest party in the parliament, the CPN UML, the second largest party, and the CPN Mao Center, the third largest party. They would never get tired of hauling each other over the coals and presenting themselves as holier than thou. At a crucial juncture of this investigation into the Bhutanese refugee scam, what has made them go for marathon parleys? Is it some kind of national emergency that the fourth estate is unaware of? Anyway, the conduct of political leaders of the three parties is giving ground for suspicion. On the basis of this suspicion, fertile minds are busy developing their own conspiracy theories. In the wake of these hush hush talks, people have started suspecting that the top brass may be trying to shield themselves as, their, as well as their kith and kin to retain public faith in the investigation and lessen the damage to Nepal's image in international fora. The government it should publicize the findings of the probe on a regular basis by engaging the media, both national and international. Because this refugee repatriation, this includes, this involves the international community. It involves uh, the UN Refugee Agency, the United Nations as a whole. It involves the United States and some other countries like Australia, like Germany, that have taken in the genuine Bhutanese refugees that were displaced, that were driven away from their homeland in Bhutan. These are the original Bhutanese refugees are Bhutanese nationals of Nepali origin that were driven away by the Thimphu regime by using rape as an instrument of war, by torching their houses, by tormenting a population, a section of the population. What was its crime? It was demanding democracy and human rights. It was demanding human dignity. Mind you, Nepal and Bhutan do not have a land border. In between the two countries, lies India. These people first came to India because they could to escape the state-sponsored violence. India is it has a very cordial relationship with Bhutan. Bhutan, in fact, is a protectorate of India. So, what happened after that? What happened after these Bhutanese refugees got driven into India? Subsequently, India pushed them into Nepali territories via that Mechi bridge that lies on Nepal-India border in the eastern district of Jhapa. So they brutally suppressed the Bhutanese refugees protests. In fact, two refugees had died in a police crackdown in the 1990s while they were trying to return home when Indian forces unleashed violence at a demonstration. Two Bhutanese refugees died. So India is complicit in this exodus, in this forced exodus, in this forced uh, ouster of Nepali origin Bhutanese nationals. I mean, Bhutanese nationals of uh, Nepali background, Bhutanese citizens of Nepalese roots. Centuries ago, at least a century or so ago, they just went to Bhutan. In course of time, they stayed there uh, for. They contributed to the national life of Bhutan, and they rose to prominence in different walks of Bhutan's life. They rose to civil service. They contributed to Bhutan, but uh, the draconian measure of this one language, one dress, that kind of rule enforced uh, against the whole population. Just they could not stand it. They demanded some kind of freedoms from those provisions. They demanded that they be allowed to speak Nepali, put on the dresses of their choice, and above all, they were demanding these people called the Lotsampas. The Bhutanese or Nepali speaking Bhutanese peoples are called Lotsampas in Bhutan. So they demanded essentially, in essence, they demanded human rights and democracy, and the Thimphu regime could not withstand it. So it brutally suppressed their movement and dropped them away from Bhutan. Then they came to India, and India dropped them away, dropped these people that were demanding democracy and human rights. The world's largest democracy dropped them away from its territories instead of pressing the Thimphu regime to just allow them to return to their homeland, instead of forcing the Thimphu regime to allow them to return home. What the world's largest democracy did is it forced these people, these refugees, to Nepal via the open border. So that was the explanation. Let's continue with this presentation. We were also talking about why the top brass, the top leaders of three political parties have been holding marathon meetings at a time when some big fish are already under the police dragnet, and there are rumors that more of these people, more of the political leaders, the political elites could land behind bars in connection with this investigation into the fake Bhutanese refugee scam. So let's continue. To retain public faith in the investigation and lessen the damage to Nepal's image in the international fora, the government should publicize the findings of the probe on a regular basis. This it can do by engaging both national as well as international media. Why? Because the international community, including the UN, is involved in finding a home away from home for these displaced populations. How about conducting a regular press briefing to deal with rumors surrounding the scam and bring the facts to the fore? This can help retain public faith in the investigation and discourage conspiracy theorists. It can also be an effective way to engage the international community, which is also a stakeholder in this case, as it has given shelter to more than 1 lakh Bhutanese citizens of Nepali origins. They were driven away from their homeland by a dictatorial regime, as I already pointed it earlier also. While carrying on with this probe, the plight of these people should not be forgotten, nor the state of affairs in Nepal that is literally forcing the people to flee by paying human traffickers. What is forcing the people to flee the country, to flee the motherland, to flee the fatherland, to flee their ancestral land? This should also be investigated and thought upon. The silver lining in this dark cloud. What is the silver lining in this dark cloud? It is that the scam has given the government a golden opportunity to cleanse the government governance system and restore public faith in it. If conducted properly, this probe will mark the start of a mega probe into a series of cases of corruption, including policy corruption, that have rendered the country gravely ill. The government should not squander this once in a lifetime opportunity. As for the people, they should stay ever vigilant to ensure that the government stays the course. After all, as someone has rightly said, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, isn't it? At the end of this program, I once again request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Why, you may ask? Because we are trying to promote citizen journalism. We are trying our utmost to be your true voice. That's why I once again request you to literally throw your weight behind this endeavor. I request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. It means quite a lot to us. It means a whole world to us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.